Hello everyone, this is a get to know video where I explore the first two fragrances from the house of Meo Fusciuni. They are not official samples, they are samples chosen by me when I made my previous purchase of Vanille Tonka. They're from the same store. So I chose these fragrances in particular by just looking on the titles and the notes, so I know nothing about them, and they are Viole Nere and Sogni. And I will start with Sogni just by looking on the notes. They seemed very interesting to me. I am very curious in this house, Meo Fusciuni. It's something I will definitely want to explore as soon as I find a discovery set available somewhere that delivers to my country. Unfortunately, I couldn't find anything up until now, and buying all of these samples can be pretty expensive, buying them one by one, because you have to get a discovery set. Yes. And of course, I'm being love bombed right now. Okay, so this smells very interesting. There's something I like and there's something I despise in this scent. So the thing that I despise is that amber woody, very common smell that you can find in most fragrances on the shelves right now, and this is a very bad way to start getting to know a house. I still have my hopes up, but there's also something I truly like, and that's because I saw on the notes listed there the smell of rice, and it is here, and it comes across as papery white, clean. Once I said that rice, the note of rice in a fragrance is like a pause for the nose. It's like a brief moment when you smell almost nothing. But here, the rice is also creamy whiteness, milky, woody, papery. It's like cardboard. Quite interesting, and the fragrance is becoming gradually more pleasant and a bit more interesting to my nose, because as it is, if somebody handed me this in a fragrance shop, I think I would be quite not interested and quite disappointed. However, this is a fragrance that has an evolution, and to be fair, I will apply this on the skin as well, to be fair to the fragrance. And also, there's also some booziness to this. It's like a boozy, amber woody, which I don't like, woody, creamy, milky, vetiver-y, something grassy, and also trapped somewhere in the background, there's sweetness, acrid, sandalwoody, pungent. Oh, this is turning into something quite lovely. Okay, the initial impression was no. Then again, it's starting to grow on me, because that sandalwood is pretty natural smelling sandalwood, with all the woody acridness and the acidic funk that sandalwood brings. Also the vegetal pickle, feel. This is becoming more and more sandalwoody by the minute. And those, amber woody carriers, I don't know what to call them, those initial molecules were very violent, but this is becoming more tame. However, this does feel like a very, very powerful type of scent, which I don't know, it still has a bit of a bite that I don't think I like all that much. There's a bit of spiciness to this that kind of tickles the nose, if you know what I mean. So let's check the official website and see what they say about Sogni. Where am I? I'm dreaming, or maybe it's reality. Sogni tells of that moment suspended between dream and reality, because, you know, Sogni is dreams. That moment when your mind and heart are still in a distant place and we feel lost, confused, as if suspended. I think that's maybe a bit too much for this. This fragrance feels, you know, a bit common and grounded as it is right now, but I did hear that these fragrances change quite a lot. They do have their own trajectory, so I need to be fair to them. With Sogni, I told my love for Japan, my memories of past travels, my passion for Kawabata's literature, and Kurosawa's films and bonsai trees. I tried to tell a new story with a warm, woody perfume, my Japanese dream. One day, a long time ago, I thought or dreamed of being able to create a perfect woody perfume where the different woods would tell the story of time, of the passing of life itself. Again, a challenge. A perfume that could be unique, exciting, and involving. Sogni is the realization of my desire, an immediate experience incredibly close to reality and the nature of things. Aesthetic devotion to nature. It does feel as enclosed garden in a Japanese home, if that makes sense. It feels like a curated natural environment, a very curated garden. It does feel like that. It's very clean, it's minimalistic. The impression of white is so good in this. And it's already changed. Everything became kind of more tied together. And the woodiness, as I said, is very light, clean, and fresh. Almost clinical. But I think that the sandalwood is still the main player. The opening notes of Sogni is a tatami wood. Okay, so tatami is the straw mat you can sleep on, or I think you should sleep on, and Japanese pine needles. We are in an ancient ryokan in Kyoto, and the rain has stopped falling. There is something not humid, but quite solar in this. Solar, I should say tropical to this. It's like tropical, humid heat. Quite interesting this, not that I read it. A bowl of hot rice is beside us to remind us of the simplicity of life, its purity. Our attention is brought to the nose by the green, clear, and transparent notes of a bamboo forest, the flowery note of peony, and an emotional haiku. An instant that preludes the awakening of the soul from the dream. Finally, the lights of this dawn envelop the woody notes of sandalwood, cedar, and the typical accord of the Kodo ritual, incense. Get next to no incense in this. The sandalwood is very strong, and the amber woody thing I mentioned earlier is this vetiver super that is still kind of it's not unpleasant. It's unpleasant for me because I feel it trivializes everything and it makes it so common. It's like something I've smelled so many times before, and it's a shame. Again, these are just first impressions. I might grow to love this. A journey into the beauty of Japanese harmony. Well, it is harmonious, I should say that. Composition. Tatami, pine needles, rice absolute. Oh, do they actually use rice? I thought rice was an imaginary note in fragrance. Huh, I need to research this. I didn't know they actually used rice, but if they mention an absolute, maybe. I guess they use rice for everything. Peony, bamboo, kodo ritual. Oh. Kodo ritual might mean that incense. Cedarwood, sandalwood, oak wood, roasted green tea, tobacco, guaiac wood. There is some distant tarry, but again, I think it's that pungent amber woody thing I felt at the beginning. Incense, vetiver, musk, and amber. Well, as it is, I like it. I wouldn't get it. And all my hopes fall for the next fragrance, which is Viole Nere, which is, something centered on violets and iris, and hopefully a lot more interesting to my nose than this one. It is lovely, to be sure, but I wouldn't. I mean, maybe it's just not my style of fragrance. I do love sandalwood, but this maybe is a bit too clinical for me. Too uninvolved, too distant, I should say. But I will let this settle for a bit. And I was hoping about something more, dreamscapey, something more surreal, more for a fragrance called Sogni. This is just harsh, minimalistic reality. Brutal, yet gentle at the same time. Austere, I think that's the word. Quite austere, this fragrance. But I don't think in a good way. Now let's really let's smell Viole Nere, because this is my last hope. I am still curious in this house, nevertheless. The first impression wasn't great, to be fair. Okay, violets, definitely. Dry violets, which is good. Dry, dark violet. This is dark. It's austere violet. It's fresh violet. I like this. I'm carefully choosing my words. I'm not gushing over it yet. I'm expecting, a twist, a turn, something. To be fair, I should apply this on the skin as well. Oh, on the skin is beautiful. It is gorgeous. It's very colorful, what I'm smelling. It's a very deep shade of dark purple. And I'm happy that I'm smelling this in a fragrance. I don't know, I think it's quite difficult to do a proper violet that's not been overdone to death before, I think this is quite, I wouldn't necessarily call it unique, because some other fragrances do come to mind, and one of them is Hiram Green's Vivacious, I think. But this one is violet with a touch of tonka bean, which does surely remind me of Insolence. What saves this from becoming insolence is the absence of the jammy rose feel. That is, you know, something that you can smell in insolence, which isn't something bad. It's just what makes Viole Nere darker, more austere, more somber, almost like a chypre. There's definitely parts of Chanel's number 19 in this. It's also green. It's a very deep shade of green purple. There are hints of De Profundis, Serge Lutens in this. There's something delicately sugary that's trying to come out, but it's not jammy. It's ambery without it being jammy. It's beautiful. There's also hints of very, very gentle leather that's more into the realm of velour. And it also has this feeling of, oh, what's that word? You know when you're biting velvet? Have you ever bitten velvet before? It does something to your teeth. You know when you're crunching on a piece of velvet. I like this one quite a lot. Okay, we're back. This is very aptly named Viole Nere, because it is indeed black violet. Let's search for the official, you know, notes on the fragrance. There it is. I don't understand. I mean, it's a choice, but their website, they don't sell the actual fragrances. They only work through retailers, so they send their merchandise to other shops who in turn sell them. I don't know, it's a choice. I was expecting maybe to be able to purchase them from the official website, but nope. I did send them an email and they responded very quickly. That's good. And they just sent me the links to the shops where they sell their merchandise, but all of them are Italian shops and I don't think they help much. I need something that delivers here, and we have a local shop in Romania that also sell them, but they don't have the Discovery set, which is a shame. They should. The violet in spring represents the blossoming of the soul. That's nice. There is a place where my thoughts find refuge, where I absent myself from the world, where I read my poems aloud at dawn of March. And all of these, you know, thoughts do bring to mind Après L'Ondée, you know, because that's a fragrance of the morning, a morning in spring. As the first violets of the year emerge from the still frosty ground, that's perfect. The place is the garden of my soul. In Viole Nere, I address the theme of absence and blackness, in which I hide my being, abandon my mind, where the word becomes a boulder to which I bind my spirit, and where poetry becomes a form of invocation. Quite strong words. Perfume becomes marvel, black on black. I have chosen to tell a new story that has the scent of black violet. Viole Nere was born from my desire to tell the story of my love for the garden as a physical and spiritual place, as a mirror of my consciousness. I did this by interpreting the famous violet, a flower that is austere and delicate, yet has a strong character. And that is true also. Violets, their scent isn't strong. It's very, very faint. You have to really, really get very, very close your nose in the flower to maybe get a hint of their smell. Most people, I think, can't even smell the scent of violets. And the scent of the flower itself is so clean and delicate, and what we have in fragrance is mere hints of the smell of violets, you know. However, when you are familiar enough with fragrances that invoke violets, whenever you smell an actual violet, you can think of those fragrances. And I think this is fascinating, you know, nature, you know, art imitating nature, and then nature, we are able to recognize nature through the art. I think that's very, very interesting, and it is true, and it happens to me with iris as well, because iris and violets are very close in smell, and I'm talking about actual iris, the flower, not fragrance in general, because in fragrance, as we all know, they use orris and violet leaf, you know, for the smell. They combine the two, as far as I know. But I'm not, you know, I'm not proficient in this. I know that they cannot distill either violet flowers or iris flowers, which is, again, very, very interesting. Also, a lot of synthetic materials are used as well, but, you know, ionones and all that. My violet tells of March mornings when the earth is still damp and cold, wet from late winter, and the first light of spring illuminate the meadow. Violet grow and perfume the days, a ritual that is repeated year after year. I have tried to make tradition modern. True, because violet is something that's, you know, very traditional. It's very, you know, classic in perfumery. Violets, think of a Prelonde. I have tried to make tradition modern, seeking balance between the powdery, fruity, and woody notes. Indeed, a balance has been achieved, although I should say everything inclines into the more austere part of the scent, and this I find to be very apt. I love this quite a lot. The sparkling notes of cassis tells of the freshness of the mornings. The accord of vetiver, patchouli, and frankincense takes us back to the earth, to our roots. I wasn't wrong in mentioning De Profundis. This is, you know, quite in that vein. Although I think De Profundis sparkles a lot more. I think De Profundis is a lot more metallic. It has that clearer, more transparent sheen than this one. This one is murkier, but strangely enough, not earthier, just more floral, which again can be a plus. The accords of violet and iris and floral accord are the emotion, the light, the elegance. A contemporary classics, a 1920s violet, but of the new century. I like that he gets his references right, or they get their references right. I think that's a very good statement. It is a 1920s violet. I don't suppose it's modern. There is no such thing. This is very subjective, you know. What makes this modern? I couldn't tell you. I could tell you what makes this classic. It's the idea of a Chypre tonka violet, you know. This makes it classic. I don't know what about modern. This is a very well done scent. This is something I would very much like to own. The leather in this is gorgeous. There's always a bit of leather whenever violets are involved. Always. And I think this is a very gothic smell. And I should very much... Oh, yes, that's right. I smell chamade pour homme in this. There's a lot of chamade pour homme from Guerlain in this. I should say the more floral parts of Fahrenheit, that's the reference for chamade pour homme. The more floral parts, the violet, the floral violet in Fahrenheit, if you could isolate that, that's the leather. There is gasoline. There is a sense of the darkness of the industrial. Does this make it modern? I suppose. I don't want to let this go, but I have to check if the Sogni one is any different. Sogni is, when you smell them side by side, the amber woods are very, very present. They tickle my nose in a very unpleasant way. There's a lot of iso E super in this, and the sandalwood is the only thing that's beautiful in this. And it does create this rice sort of impression. See it on the paper as well. Yes, there's not much else going on here. I don't think there's much more to be said for Sogni other than what I said before. It's quite, typical. This one, Viole Nere, I really like. It's not unique. It's not something I've never smelled before. But it is done very, very correctly, in my opinion. And I like the strain that made it possible for the fragrance to veer more austere than opulent. Because, you can very well do some opulent violets, that's for sure. You can have some very opulent, rosy, jammy, all over the place, insolent violets out there. But these are dark and tame and leathery, just a bit of sweetness to make things interesting and pleasant. Beautiful, beautiful Viole Nere. So, if I'm able to find a discovery set, I will jump right on it. If you have any, suggestion for where I should try this, I'm sure you'll tell me in the comments. If you have any other question as well, do tell me in the comments below. And until next time, remember, fragrance creates memories, and may yours be happy.